Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So as you can see by the title, today I'm going to be talking about how to get your work published by a magazine. If you're new here, my name is Andrea and I'm a music photographer based in London, and I do videos mostly about that. And before I get way into the video, I just want to remind you guys, if you do end up liking the video, to please leave a like and subscribe and all of that, because that really helps the channel, really helps push out the videos so more people can see them, and yeah, so that'll be great. And also, quick apology for the sound. I'm currently not where I usually film, and I'm by a window where cars tend to speed up outside quite a bit, so it might be a bit noisy. But without further ado, let's get into it. So as we all know, print media, like magazines, like physical magazines, are in decline. Everything is now more so done online, but most of the things I'm gonna say in this video apply to digital media as well, so like online magazines, blogs, any of that. And like I mentioned before, I am a music photographer, so my work is generally around music, live concerts, portraits. So my personal experience with publishing is within that world, is within the music world. But I feel like even if you don't work in the same field as I do, there are still quite a lot of translatable advice to pretty much any other niche of photography. Generally speaking, I feel like being published by a magazine can happen in 4 different ways. The first way you can get your work published by a magazine, a publication, any of that, is by reaching out to them yourself. So reaching out to a magazine that focuses on your subject area of shooting. So for example, for me, that would be a music magazine. If I'm mostly shooting musicians, live gigs, I'm doing portraits of musicians and stuff, obviously the genre of magazine that will have the most interest in that will be music magazines. So you can reach out to them. If you like to take travel pictures or like pictures of food and stuff like that, you would have to reach out to those specific magazines that focus on your niche. So again, in my case, as a music photographer, I can reach out to a magazine, express to them that I want to cover a specific gig, aka a concert, and if they have an interest in it, they will help arrange for me to get a photo pass for that gig so I can have access with my camera to it, so I can shoot it, and then it will be published in their magazine. Usually for you to get access to a gig to shoot it, you will need a photo pass. Not always, depending on the venue. It can be like a smaller, more lenient venue and you won't need a photo pass, but generally speaking, it's good to have one at hand because more likely than not, it will be asked of you to present one. So by reaching out to a magazine, they'll help you with the photo pass. I have a whole video on photo passes on my channel. It's a little bit old. It was, I think, the second video I've ever filmed on my channel, but I think it's still pretty relevant, and it goes into the details of how you can get a photo pass. It doesn't always have to be through a publication. It can be, through the band, whatever. Anyway, I have a whole video on that. So if you do reach out to a magazine, make sure that you find the right contact email for the publication that you're reaching out to. Make sure that the person you're contacting is the person that deals with that sort of situations. Because usually, depending on the size of the magazine, there'll be different people working within different areas of the publication. So make sure that you reach out to the person that would deal with that sort of situation. And also make sure that your email is, well written and personable to the publication, because I'm pretty sure all of them get loads of emails, and so you just want to make sure that yours is not just like a copy and paste situation, that it's actually a little bit more personable to the magazine brand itself. Again, that it's well written, not too long, because if they receive a super long email by someone they don't know, they might just skip on it because they have so many other ones to read. So just make sure it's short and concise and strong and clear. I'd also advise for you to attach some sort of access to your portfolio. I usually suggest putting a link to your portfolio, because many inboxes, especially for people that receive a lot of emails, many inboxes have this sort of attachment file limit. So if you attach a file, let's say a PDF of your portfolio, or whatever the case may be, if it's bigger than 2 megabytes, if it's bigger than 5 megabytes or whatever, it might be automatically redirected to a quarantine folder or a trash folder, and then that will decrease the likelihood of them finding your emails. The same can be said for links. I feel like some inboxes also block people that send links because they think they're viruses, but personally, I feel like it's best to send a link. But you can trial and error, you can send them one with your attached PDF portfolio and then a couple weeks later send it again. with a link and see if that works. So keep in mind that you should have an organized little portfolio to send to them, just in case they don't know who you are, haven't worked with you before, so they know what they're in for, basically. The second way you can get published by a magazine is if they get in touch with you. So very similarly to the example I just gave you, they would grant you access to the concert with a photo pass. But a lot of the times when magazines want to do a feature on a musician, on a band, they like having these more so like unique photos. So basically photos that are shot for the magazine that not other magazines have. So they might ask you to do some portraits with the band. I think the word I'm looking for is exclusive. They want exclusive photos of the band that's like made for them. So they would put you in touch with the artist's management or the artist themselves, depending on the situation. And then you would agree on a date that works for both of you. You would do the shoot, and that's that. And usually this is the case scenario where you're more likely to get paid an okay wage. It's usually the way that you're sort of guaranteed to get paid for the job. Because I think usually when you are the one reaching out to magazines, I feel like a lot of the time, especially in the music world and with my limited experience, I feel like they take it more as a exchange for exposure. Whereas when they ask you to do a project for them, I feel like they offer something in return. Not always, but it's more likely that they would, and it's more likely that your request to be paid is accepted. But yeah, and in this scenario, I would really advise you to have a contract with a magazine, because especially if they want some sort of exclusivity to your photos. For me personally, I'm not really comfortable with just giving them like lifelong rights to my photos. In a sense, I've done a couple contracts where I'll give them exclusivity for the photos, where I won't send that photo to any other magazine. I won't publish it anywhere else. If I do want to expose it somewhere, I will like get in touch with them, see if that's okay. I give them like full exclusivity for the photos for like 2 or maybe 5 years. I don't usually feel very comfortable giving them way more than that, especially if it's a shoot that didn't really, pay you like thousands and thousands, because you always want to be very careful about selling the copyright, the rights of your work. So you should never do it unless you feel like it's really worth it. You should always aim to minimize the control that other people have over your work, in my personal opinion. So yeah. The third way that you can get your work published in a magazine, it's a little bit more passive. So this could happen way after you already shot the photos. Like for example, if you've shot some portraits of a band or shot a band live or did some press shots. I mean, press shots in themselves already insinuate that they're going to be used for press, aka magazines. But if you shot portraits of a band, again, they might ask you to publish those photos on a magazine for a feature that they're in. So let's say that a music magazine wants to write about their new album, and they ask the band to provide some photos, and then they might want to provide the magazine with your photo, and then that's a way that your work can be published sort of passively, like you not really part of that transaction. It happens after you finish that specific body of work, but it's still a way that your work gets published in a magazine. And I always say this, please, whenever possible, please ask for the artist or the band to always pass on your credit to the magazine, so that when it gets published, your credit will be there. So like photo by, and then your name. Because I think it's very important. And it feels very special to see your name on a magazine together with your photo. So always remember to ask them to do that when possible. And the last way that you can get published by a magazine is by keeping an eye open for open contests that some publications may have. I see them on both physical magazines and also on online magazines. They'll have like a call for action for new photographers or even for writers or anything. And you can submit your work and hope for the best. And I just have a couple more notes to say in regard to this. If you don't know what magazine to reach out to or who to talk to, I think a good way is to speak to some of your friends that are in the same industry as you. Keep an eye out to see where they get their work published. You can go to their website. Usually they'll have like a feature session or a publish section. It's usually like a featured in section, so you can have a look and see what sort of magazines they've worked with and try and reach out to those magazines as well to see if they're taking any more people. And yeah. And on my very last note, don't feel bad if you don't get many replies. It's a very competitive field, as we all know, and it might take a bit of persistence and work development. You might need to practice a little bit more, improve your portfolio, keep trying, start small, reach out to smaller publications. They're more likely to respond to you because they more likely receive less emails per day, so they'll more likely see your email. So then just go on from there, and once you start getting published in smaller magazines, you can start to scale up a little bit. And don't feel discouraged by no's, they're all a part of it and we all get them. And yeah, I also have a video on my channel about comparison, like why you shouldn't really compare yourself in your journey to other people, especially within your work. I also linked that one down below, so we have the PhotoPass video and the comparison video down below if you want to go watch that. And I think this is it for this video. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please leave a like. Again, it helps the channel grow and reach out to other people. And subscribe for more if you liked it. And I'll see you guys very soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.